In my country, I think the influence has been quite considerable in terms of the influence on the community foundations that have taken part in it have been very, very strongly influenced by the learning that we've had from being in an international environment. For me personally, it's hard to exaggerate the influence this network has had on me. It taught me so much about practice that I could bring back to my own community foundation to help make us ready. We were a very small foundation when I started in Britain, in Derbyshire. We were a very small foundation. The know-how that I acquired here enabled us to take on, for example, a challenge grant and to grow. And in the meantime, I moved on myself. I had a move abroad to Egypt, and the learning that I have acquired from this network has enabled me to establish a community foundation in Egypt, the first one in that country. And so the influence on my own life has been very profound. In fact, I could say that TCFN changed my life.
Okay, and could you give us a tiny little story, short story, how TCFN works?
How it works? I suppose if I think about that, just a little snapshot perhaps. When I was just starting, we were a very young foundation. We had no endowment. We were running out of funding. And I received the best piece of advice from a seasoned American practitioner in this network. She said to me, one of the most important things you should know as a community foundation director is don't panic. And I followed her advice and was able, by seeing how other people had been in my position, but they had grown through it, they had survived. I wasn't alone in my position. I had survived. They had survived, and that meant that I could survive by taking a longer view. So I think that's the story that I would want to remember, just this wonderful piece of advice that I would also want to give to any community foundation director. Don't panic.